Test, test, test. Test, 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 test. Good afternoon and welcome inside Monin Park in Boston, Massachusetts on the campus of UMass Boston. We're getting ready for the kickoff of the Little East Conference regular season as UMass Boston will take on Castleton University in their first doubleheader of the season. Good afternoon. My name is Michael Vesci, bringing you all the action today. The Beacons' first game back at home since their trip down to Florida last week. We'll quickly run through the starting lineup for Castleton University. Leading off will be number 6, Reese DeCastro in the 2-hole. Tyler McLean playing second base. Jackson Cardozo is in right field. Evan Keegan's the designated hitter. Hunter Perkins in left field. Addison Schaub at catcher. Brandon Ramirez at first base. Cannon Dush in center field. And Ryan Lawrence will play shortstop. As for the UMass Boston defensive alignment, coming up on your screen shortly right here, the Beacons will send out Joey Morrison, Breon Parker, and Justin Govea from left to right. Drew Metzdorf, Gianni Zarrilli Jr., Aiden Blake, and Nick Palma from left to right. Dylan Ryan will be on the mound, and Craig Corliss will be doing the catching, as you'll see Dylan Ryan on the mound here in a second. 3 appearances on the year, 2 starts with a 1-0 record, 0.90 ERA in 10 innings, 12 strikeouts, and 1 walk. Ryan, in his last start against FDU Florham, through 5 shutout innings for the Beacons, getting his first win of the year down in Florida. That was their final game of the spring break trip. As we are getting ready for first pitch here at Monin Park, the first game, as I mentioned, since the Florida trip. The Beacons coming off of 2 big wins on the road the past 2 days against Johnson and Wales University and Suffolk University, 13-11 and 21-8. So the Beacons scoring 34 runs in their last 2 games. They've scored 10-plus runs in their last 3 games as well. However, the pitching has to kind of find its groove here, as they've allowed 7-plus runs in their last 3 games. We get ready to get set here at Monin Park. It'll be Reese DeCastro leading off for the Spartans, stepping into the batter's box. Castro comes into this game with a .333 average, 2 home runs, 11 RBIs. Castleton comes into this game 6-6 on the season. His first pitch is outside, and we are underway from Monin Park in Game 1 of this Little East Conference doubleheader. Both teams looking to get off to a 1-0 start in conference play. Ryan gets ready with the 1-0. That one's hit in the center field. Parker going back, comes back in a little bit, and he'll make the grab. There's one away here in the first inning. That'll bring Tyler McLean to the plate, second baseman number 15. Hitting in the 2-hole for the Spartans. McLean comes into the game with a .365 average, 2 home runs, and 10 RBIs on the season. That pitch is low for ball 1. McLean playing in all 12 of the Spartans games so far this year. 19 hits, 6 doubles as well. So 6 extra base hits in this year. That one's low for ball 2. Mentioned 10 RBIs, only 9 strikeouts, walked once. So he's a contact hitter to say the least here. Ryan deals, and that one's hit into the gap between left and right field. Parker moves over, is going to get by Morrison, make the grab for the second out of the inning. Parker has a lot of range for the freshman. He makes all the plays out there in center field from left to right. I was down with the team last week, and the pitchers were saying, we owe him one. Parker making a lot of big catches in the outfield for the Beacons in the early going of this season. You'll see it today. The way he just ranges from left to right field, it's pretty spectacular to make some great plays as Ryan fires that one outside for ball 1 to right fielder Jackson Cardozo. Cardozo hitting .317 coming into this game. 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, 13 hits on the year in 41 at-bats. As pitch number 2 is outside for ball 2. The count moves to 2-0. Mentioned before, Castleton coming into this game 6-6 on the season as Ryan deals, and that one's fouled off for first strike of the at-bat. Currently on a 2-game winning streak after beating Fisher over the weekend, 7-0 and 6-2. Down in Alabama, they went 1-3. As Ryan fires in, that's in there for strike number 2. Mark Delaney doing the balls and strikes behind the plate. Dan Fitzpatrick at first base. The 2 umps will switch for game number 2 later on. As Ryan looks to get out of this first inning unscathed, that pitch just outside Corliss looked to frame it on the outside corner, not getting the call there. And the count moves full to 3-2. Ryan very efficient in this first inning, getting the first 2 outs pretty quickly. Now working to a 3-2 against Cardozo. Looking to end the first inning with nothing on the scoreboard as Cardozo hits that one up the middle. Blake not going to be able to get to that one. It's up the middle for a base hit. Parker corrals it and fires back in. So the Spartans have their first hit of the game. Cardozo reaching on a single to center field. And that'll bring up Evan Keegan to the dish.
Designated 5.
Keegan coming to the game with a .273 average, 7 RBIs on the year, no home runs. He's played in 11 games, started 10 of them for the Spartans, 33 at-bats, 9 hits, 2 doubles. That pitch is outside for ball 1. 2 for 2 in stealing bases this year. The Spartans 18-22 as a team stealing bases. As Ryan delivers, just hits the outside corner. The count moves to 1-1. Looked about on the same spot as that 2-2 pitch in the previous at-bat with Cardozo, but Ryan didn't get the call on that one, gets the call there. We move to a 1-1 count here. Runner on first, 2 outs. Ryan delivers, same spot, strike number 2. Ryan looking to get out of this inning here against Keegan. See, we have the center field camera up as well today. Just got that in there for the first game back from Florida. Ryan sets and delivers. Got him swinging. Keegan goes down. And the side is retired for the Spartans. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left on base. We head to the bottom of the first. The Beacons coming to bat. We'll keep it here and take a look at the starting lineup for your UMass Boston Beacons. Breon Parker, as we mentioned already, making 2 plays in center field, will lead off, hitting .386 in the air. Joey Morrison in left field, hitting .345. Drew Metzdorf will be at third base. Aiden Blake at second, hitting fourth. Nick Palma at first base. Gianni Zerilli Jr. at short in the 6th spot. Craig Corliss, the catcher, in the 7th. Mariana Jimenez, the DH. Justin Gavea in right field, hitting 9th today. Take a look at the Castleton defensive lineup now. Perkins, Dush, and Cardozo from left to right. DeCastro, Lawrence, McLean, Ramirez from left to right on the infield. Riley Orr on the mound. Addison Schaub doing the catching. As we take a look at Riley Orr on the mound, the 3-time Little East Conference Rookie of the Week, Pitcher of the Week. 4 appearances, 4 starts, a 2-1 record, 2.13 ERA, 25 innings. 25 and 1/3 innings, and a ridiculous 35-5 strike to walk ratio coming into this game. So, the Beacons have their work cut out for them against him. Just 15 hits given up this year. Like we mentioned, though, the Beacon offense has been rolling in their last 3 games, 10+ runs. As a team, they are hitting .303 on the year, and they've already knocked in 101 runs. They also have 42 extra base hits, 4 home runs as a team, 82 ribbies across the board, slugging percentage of .451. So this is a UMass Boston team that is hitting really well right now. However, like I mentioned earlier, it's been the pitching that's been kind of a struggle. When you look at the opponents for the Beacons, they're averaging their ERA is an average of 7.14 per game. The Beacons, though, as a pitching staff, 6.03. So that number's got to come down, especially as we get into Little East Conference play. Pitchers starting to get used to things, and we get ready to kick off, Little East Conference play as a whole. Wins are going to come by if we can get good pitching going and continue the hot hitting of the bats, because you're not going to always be able to put up 10+ runs a game if you're against a good pitcher like potentially Riley Orr here. If he has another good outing, could stifle the Beacons. So it would be important for Dylan Ryan in the bullpen to be able to work around the Castleton hitters and keep them in check today, as Parker steps in with a .386 average and 7 RBIs coming into today's game. First pitch is low for ball 1. Everybody on the Beacons really kind of getting into the offensive showing the last 3 games. Parker, as a freshman, has looked really good in his first 12 games. 17 hits already. He stole 2 bases. That one's in there for a strike. Count moves to 1-1. Again, Ben Rock out there in center field. He's only committed 1 error. He had 31 put-out attempts. That 1 error did come in Florida on a fly ball that was kind of lost in the sun, as Parker swings and misses for strike number 2. Earlier in the year, Parker was hitting a little bit lower in the lineup, but he's kind of proven himself as a leadoff hitter, especially down in Florida. He really kind of paced that UMass Boston's offense early on that trip, as Parker grounds that one to third. DeCastro fires over to first, and that one's corralled from Ramirez for out number 1 in the first inning. And that brings Joey Morrison to the plate, another freshman. The freshman hitters for the Beacons have really come alive early on, making a mark on this team amidst the veterans as well, and making it a tough decision for Brendan Eigebrot to decide who's going to start every day. I mean, these freshmen have hit really well. You see Morrison there, 7 RBIs already to start the year, as he's going to look to bunt it, and that's going to be popped up to Orr, who makes the first out of the inning, or second out of the inning. So 2 away for Drew Metzdorf, the third baseman. He hit for the cycle down in Florida against Ithaca College, and it was something to watch. I mean, I was scoring that game and taking photos and doing everything for that one, and to watch him do it in order. He went single, double, triple home run in that exact order in his first 4 at-bats as part of his 5-for-5 game. First Beacon player in program history to hit for the cycle, and to do it in that fashion, you'll probably, there's a very low chance you'll ever see that done again in the fashion that he did it in that order. As that pitch is outside, that's ball number 2, 2-0 the count. Metzdorf, 3 triples already, 1 home run, 10 RBIs, 3 doubles. He's scored 16 times. Stolen 5 bases out of 6. The Beacons as a team, 19 of 29 on the base passes. That one is swung on and missed. It gets away from the catcher there for strike number 1. Addison Schaub behind the plate. 2-1 count, bottom of the first. Castleton got a runner on in the top half of the inning, but was stranded as Dylan Ryan came back to strike out the cleanup hitter Evan Keegan after Jackson Cardozo got on. That one's popped up. It kind of goes in that cozy corner over there in right field and gets out of the stadium for strike number 2. No harm, no foul, except for that foul ball. Makes it a 2-2 count here in the bottom of the first. Got 18 exciting innings of baseball for you today from Monin Park. Just getting underway with Game 1. If you're just joining us here on the Beacon Broadcast Network, sponsored by LittleEast.tv. As Orr thought he had strike 3 there. A nice pitch that just kind of curved over the plate, but looks like it may have broke a little bit late, according to Mark Delaney behind the plate, as we move to a 3-2 count. Kind of similar to that Ryan pitch in the top half of the inning. Orr fires that one right down the middle. Metzdorf pops that one up into left field. Perkins ranging over, and now the wind looks like it took it. Perkins lays out and is able to make the grab for out number 3. So no runs, no hits, no errors, no one left on base for the Beacons. We head to the top of the second inning. Perkins, Schaub, and Ramirez due up. We'll take a quick commercial break here on the Beacon Broadcast Network, sponsored by LittleEast.tv.
Proportion to me is the lived experience of our Division III student athletes. They balance life from an academic perspective and the rigors of competing at a high level, bonding with teammates and building lifelong friendships. But they also are involved in their communities. They work jobs and internships and volunteer. They've learned to be resilient. Diverse experiences are setting them up for the future.
Passion's love. Passion is love for what you do. Because I think when you face challenges, it comes down to how much you want it and how much you love it. Passion is what keeps you going forward. Seeing so many people that were like-minded and so hardworking in their sport and academics, being surrounded by like-minded people makes you want to be more passionate. I think it pushes you to a different level that maybe you didn't think you had. And you can do the best of both worlds and love all of it.
Proportion to me is the lived experience of our...
Back in the broadcast booth here at Monin Park, Hunter Perkins getting ready to step in for Castleton. We're hungry for some strikeouts. Sonny Green to my right here doing scoreboard is hungry for some runs for the Beacons in the bottom half of the inning. We have a fun day of baseball planned for you. We might get some of our workers on in game number 2 for you guys, as that's ball 1. Get them talking a little bit about their sports. Maybe do some color with me. We'll see if they're up to it. First pitch is outside for ball 1 to Perkins. As Ryan deals, that one's in there for a strike. Count moves to 1-1. Perkins coming into this game, hitting .209. 9 hits and 43 at-bats. He started all 12 games for the Spartans. 2 doubles as well. 2 home runs and 9 RBIs on the year. So an offensive weapon at the plate. The count moves to 2-1. Ryan fires. Perkins lifts that one foul and out of play. Count moves to 2-2. Spartans yet to play a home game this year. 5-4 on the road, 1-2 in neutral site games. As I mentioned, they went down to Alabama for a couple of games during spring break. Ball is outside. Count moves to 3-2. Full count to Perkins. Ryan looking to get the first guy out here in the second inning, as that one's right down the middle, swung on and missed. And that's out number one. Ryan's second strikeout of the game already. So if it's not Ryan doing the work on the mound, getting the strikeouts, it's been Parker so far getting the outs. As Parker has recorded 2 putouts in center field, while also in left field with the way he ranged over on that play. And then Keegan and Perkins go down by the way of the K, swinging. Which brings Addison Schaub, the catcher, to the plate. That's strike number one. Schaub, 306 on the year average, 10 games played and started, 4 doubles, 11 hits and 36 at-bats, 1 home run, and 3 RBIs. That one is cut on and missed, strike number 2. Ryan quickly ahead, 0-2. He's working quickly as well. Lot different environment up here in the Boston area than it is, or was, the last week or so down in Florida. That one just misses the outside corner. We had mid-70s, low 80s every day, no humidity, which was perfect for pitchers and batters alike. Beacon's playing some top 25 teams there, as that one catches the outside corner. Strikeout number 3 for Ryan. That's 3 in a row for Dylan Ryan, retired by the way of the K.
First baseman number 22, Brandon Ramirez.
Sends Brandon Ramirez to the plate. First baseman hitting 154 on the year with 2 RBIs. Ryan fires in. That one catches the plate for strike number 1. Ryan, really efficient so far in these opening 2 innings. You mentioned he got the first 2 outs quickly before Cardozo got on with the single, as Ramirez cut at that one. And again, Ryan ahead 0-2 in the count, looking to finish off another perfect inning. And that one's cut on and missed. That's 4 straight strikeouts for Dylan Ryan between the first and the second inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, no one left on base for Castleton, UMass Boston coming to the dish. Aiden Blake, Nick Palma, Gianni Zerilli Jr. due up. As we're getting ready for the bottom of the second, take a quick look at our LEC scoreboard. Baseball, few games getting played over the past day, few games slated for tomorrow. Not sure if they'll be played due to the incoming rain and snow to the area, but yesterday Bridgewater State beat Rhode Island College 6-5 in a game that was only 6 innings long due to that rain. UMass Boston won 21-8 over Suffolk University. That game was played on turf. That's why they were able to get the whole thing in. And then I was actually down for Salve Regina versus Eastern Connecticut, helping doing the scoring down for the Seahawks. And Salve Regina came away with a big 14-6 victory over the number 2 team in D3 baseball. Coming up tomorrow, Plymouth State and Eastern Connecticut are slated to play a doubleheader right now down at East Con. Keene State at Clark. Another doubleheader as well in West Con at UMass Dartmouth, slated for noon and 3:30 tomorrow. Remains yet to be seen if those games will actually be played, though, due to the incoming storm, as I mentioned, which is why we're playing baseball here at Monin Park today. The games got moved to today, as well as softball, due to this pending storm that's coming to the northeast area later tonight, early tomorrow morning. Men's lacrosse still slated to play on the road at Plymouth State tomorrow at now noon. Game moved from 1 o'clock. Men's tennis against Clark University, their game against Clark University yesterday got postponed. Their game tomorrow at home against Bridgewater State at noon has been postponed, with a makeup date still to be decided, as that one is in there for strike number 1 to Aiden Blake. Blake, the cleanup hitter, who's been raking for the Beacons so far this year, hitting .419, second on the team in average, 18 hits. He's got 7 doubles, 2 triples, and a home run, and yet another hit for Blake as he reaches base to start off this second inning. Aiden Blake had a big go-ahead home run against Johns Hopkins down in Florida. Beacons would end up dropping that game in the later innings to the Blue Jays 9-5. That was his one home run to dead center as Nick Palma steps in. 442 average on the year. Leads the team in average. Pitches outside. Palma with 3 doubles, 19 hits on the year, 13 RBIs. Got to give a shout out to his aunt and his family who were down there in Florida. Probably some of the loudest and best fans that we had down there. We had a lot of Beacons fans traveling down to Florida. Actually, I see Nick Palma's father over to my right now, standing on the first base side as that one falls in there for a hit. So Nick Palma now on safely with a single. His aunt asked me when I was down there too, their number one fan down there in Florida, and she was the loudest and proudest we had down there in Florida. If she's listening from Atlanta, hey, how you doing? It's Michael Vesci on air. As Gianni Zerilli Jr. steps to the plate, 306 on the year, 1 home run, 15 RBIs. The Zerilli family also traveled very well down to Florida. Another loud and proud group that were down there with the Beacons, following them around at the team dinners, at all the games. So shout out to them down in Connecticut. The 0-1 count to Zerilli Jr. That one is high for ball number 1. A lot of fun down in Florida. A lot of work to do from my perspective being down there with the team. But a lot of fun meeting some of the parents and talking to the players and staff throughout the week and a half that we were down there. Beacons had some great games down there. Had some tough matchups as well. Zerilli Jr. takes that one for strike number 2. But you know, the offense was really clicking, and as I mentioned, it's just that pitching that needs to come around. Down there, you know, you beat Loras College to start 9-2. Then you lose in 8 innings to Benedictine 16-6. As Zerilli Jr. skies that one into center field. It looks like they lost it in the sun as that goes into the Bermuda Triangle in center field. That one is corralled by the center fielder, Kenan Dush. And Zerilli Jr. is in with a stand-up triple. 2-run score for the Beacons, as they lead early in this one 2-0 on a huge triple by Zerilli Jr. Blake and Palma come round to score and bring Craig Corliss to the plate. So as we mentioned, down in Florida. Then they lost to William Patterson 9-3 the next day. Then they come back and beat SUNY Brockport 10-5 and Ithaca College 9-4. They lose to nationally ranked Rowan University 3-0 and Johns Hopkins 9-5, excuse me. And then they finish off their trip with a 10-7 win over FDU Florham as Craig Corliss swings and fouls that one off. The count moves to 1-1. There was a lot of good to take away from that final game, but down the stretch, the Beacons did have a 10-1 lead and gave up 6 runs down the stretch. So you had to leave probably a bad taste in your mouth to leave in that sort of fashion after having a dominant first half of the game. But they emerged victorious, and the offenses continue to roll with that big comeback win over Johnson and Wales, trailing by 6 runs twice in that game to come back and get that victory. And then just a big game against Suffolk the day after that as well. As Corliss swings and misses, that's the first out of the inning. Orr is able to get the 3-time pitcher of the week from Castleton. As we mentioned coming into this game, Orr, 2.13 ERA in 4 games started, 35 strikeouts, just 5 walks. That's his first strikeout of the game. He's only allowed 2 extra base hits coming into this game. And after that one, that's another one, as that one's going to be hit down the line into the cozy corner for Mariano Jimenez, and he's on second with a double. So just as I mentioned, extra base hits, there's yet another one for the Beacons. Their second of this inning, scores the 3rd run of the game, and they're already up 3-0 in just the second inning of this one. I'd like to keep in mind, fans, too, with it being LEC conference play, that if a team is leading by 10 runs or more after 7 innings, they have the 10-run rule in place, in which the game automatically ends at that point. Obviously not foreshadowing anything here, but just want to let you know because sometimes non-conference games are a little bit different than conference games, as that one's in their first strike. As I mentioned, the Beacons won 21-8 yesterday. They played the full 9 in that one, even though they were up by more than 10 runs after that 7th inning. 0-1 count coming in to Justin Gouveia, the number 9 hitter, another freshman outfielder, as Gouveia chops that one to first. Ramirez going to try and take it himself. Gouveia, they say he's out. Ramirez really had to hustle in there to get it. Jimenez moves up to third on that one. Gouveia retired 3 unassisted for the second out of the inning. We're going to see if we can get a replay on that. Doesn't look like we'll be able to. As looks like head coach Brendan Eigebrodt talking to Dan Fitzpatrick over there at first base. Brendan Eigebrodt still talking. Now they break. The head coach got his 400th win against FDU Florham. So he's at 402 wins now in his career. Already hot on the trail to 500. As we're back at the top of the order, Breon Parker up. Jimenez moved over to third on that ground out by Gouveia, as the count is 1-0. So another runner in scoring position against Orr, as Orr fires in that one just outside for ball number 2. The count 2-0. As you're seeing from the center field cam, much nicer view of everything over the plate. Parker grounds that one to third. DeCastro over to Ramirez at first. Bad chopper down low on the throw. Parker's going to reach base safely. We'll see how it's scored. The run comes across. The Beacons lead 4-0. It's going to be an error by the third baseman, DeCastro. As the throw, he had plenty of time to get Parker there at first and just kind of chopped it into the dirt, or the turf. The E5 on the throw, run scores. That'll be an unearned run. Everything will be unearned for the rest of this inning should any more runs cross the plate, as Joey Morrison takes that pitch low for a ball. So Orr charged with 3 runs this inning. That last one will be unearned. Beacons lead 4-0. They got all 4 of their hits this inning as they look to pick off Parker at first. He gets back safely. Another check over there at Parker. He gets back in. Morrison, 345 as you mentioned early on. 12 games played. He's appeared in all 12 of the Beacons games so far. 7 starts, 10 hits and 29 at-bats. 2 doubles, a triple, 7 RBIs. Takes that one for a strike, 1-1. Morrison had a big 3-hit game against Johnson and Wales the other day in that comeback victory. 1-1 count from Orr. That one is lined over onto BC High's football field, where our men's lacrosse team is actually practicing at the moment. They're getting ready for their game. As I mentioned, LEC conference play kicking off for them tomorrow at noon against Plymouth State, up at Plymouth State. They're trying to get it in before the rain and snow hits the area. That one is low, and Parker was taking off. He's going to get second without a throw, as that was bobbled by Schaub. So Parker in safely into second with the stolen base. It's his 3rd of the season in 4 attempts now. As Morrison lines that one to left field, it's a base hit. Parker rounding third. The throw coming in is going to be cut off to Castro at home. He's got him. What a great throw in left field by Hunter Perkins. Relays it to DeCastro, who gets it in to Addison Schaub, and Parker is retired on the play. 7-5-2 Beacons. 4 runs on 4 hits, 1 error, 1 left on base, obviously on the Morrison hit. We head into the 3rd inning. Beacons 4, Castleton University nothing. We'll take a quick break here on the Beacon Broadcast Network, brought to you by LittleEast.tv.
Our Division III student athletes, they balance life from an academic perspective and the rigors of competing at a high level, bonding with teammates and building lifelong friendships. But they also are involved in their communities. They work jobs and internships and volunteer. They've learned to be resilient. Diverse experiences are setting them up for the future.
Passion's love.
The 5-campus UMass system is the university that educates the workforce of Massachusetts. We recognize that we are truly here for a reason, and that recognition inspires us and drives us every single day.
Responsibility is being accountable for your words and actions, first and foremost. It also is an obligation to be a positive influence in the communities around you. Being in a D3 program, you're going to have lots of different opportunities. You're not just an athlete, you're also involved in student life. Your academics are extremely important. We give a lot of our student athletes responsibilities right from the start by giving them leadership opportunities, by having them engage in the community, be a positive influence. That's being a responsible person.
I believe sportsmanship is a mutual admiration and respect for your fellow competitors. We all go through a lot to reach the point where we compete against one another. It's important to realize that. So once we're finally on the field or on the court or
Back here in Monin Park, getting ready for the 3rd inning. 4 runs coming across for the Beacons in that last half inning as Dylan Ryan takes mound. He's got 4 straight strikeouts right now, as that one is fouled off by Kenan Dush. Dush hitting in the 8th spot for the Spartans. Hitting .296 on the year, 8 hits and 27 at bats, 7 RBIs. That one catches the plate for strike number 2. Dylan Ryan's been able to get ahead 0-2 in the count in the last 3 batters now. And the more you do that as a pitcher, the better off you are. You put the hitter into a defensive mode now, where he's got to swing at anything close. That one's outside for ball 1 in the other batter's box, trying to get Dush to chase there for strike 3. You have a pitch to give right there. It's now a 1-2 count to Dush, center fielder. That one sinks at the last minute. Going to be ball number 2. Ryan trying to get Dush chasing with the breaking ball. Doesn't get him to bite. Dush crowding the plate a little bit in that batter's box. Ryan delivers just low, and that ball will be number 3 in the at-bat. It's now a 3-2 count. So Ryan got ahead 0-2 early. Dush finds his way into a 3-2 count. That one's fouled off. He fights off one that goes towards the garage over there on the right side. Good amount of fans here today at Monin Park. You know, a Friday afternoon game. If you're getting out of work early, come on down. Park in the West Garage. That one's outside for ball 4, and the strikeout streak is broken at 4 straight for Dylan Ryan as Ryan Lawrence comes to the plate. Game 2 will start 30 to 40 minutes, give or take, after Game 1 concludes. We'll take a quick break here, obviously, when that happens, and then come back and bring you Game 2 of the action as Ryan checks on Dush over there at first. But if you have time to come down, you might as well park in the West Garage, take the quick walk over to Monin Park. It's mid-50s, a light breeze in center field as they're going to try and pick off Dush there as Corliss fired over to first. Dush able to slide back in safely on that pitch low. Count is 1-0. plenty of good seats still available for this one. And Lily's conference play opening up today as Lawrence looks to push a bunt down. Rolls foul, counts now 1-1. Lawrence hitting in the 9 spot, has appeared in 11 games for the Spartans, a 125 average, 5 hits in 40 at-bats, a home run, and 4 RBIs. He struck out 13 times so far this year. As a team, the Spartans have struck out 102 times. That one's fouled off for strike number 2. Opponents have struck out 111 times against the against Castleton. Beacons have only manufactured 95 strikeouts coming into this game as a pitching staff before Ryan's 4 more to make that 99 on the year. Can we get to 100 right here as Ryan looks in on Lawrence, as Lawrence skies that one foul. Again, over towards the BC High football field. Hits the pavement over there and bounces back towards third base. We remain at a 1-2 count. We got 4 cameras today at Monin Park. Our camera operators, Addie Buddington on the first base side, Manny Zayas on the right side, Sarah St. Cern up top above me on the camera up ahead, up above. Brian checks over on Dush again. And then we got the standalone camera in center field. That pitch is low for ball 2. Patient Castleton hitters have been able to get back into the count in the last 2 at-bats against Ryan. Lawrence will see if he can push it to a 3-2. That one's in there for strike 3, and right back to work with the strikeouts is Dylan Ryan. That's 5 now on the day. And it'll bring back up the top of the order, Reese DeCastro. The top 3 of the Castleton lineup were able to make contact in their first at-bats. DeCastro flew out to Breon Parker. Then Tyler McLean flew out to Breon Parker, who shaded over to left field and called off Morrison for the catch. And then it's been all Dylan Ryan from there with the strikeouts and then 1 walk in there. As that one swung on a miss by DeCastro, count goes to 0-1 again. It's been the key so far for Dylan Ryan, is just getting ahead of the hitters early on in the count, make them have to battle back. And they have a few times, but Ryan, mixing up pitches, is able to get them cutting, as no throw from Corliss there as the ball was low and outside. That's going to be a stolen base for Dush. So he's on second, as Castleton going to try and see if they can scrape across that run there and maybe manufacture a big inning here with 1 out and the top of their lineup up. But that would be a big run to get back for the Spartans after giving up 4 in the bottom half of the second. Try and chip away at that deficit early on in this one. Ryan delivers. Corliss tried to frame it on the inside corner. It's outside for ball 2. Two-one count to the top of the order in DeCastro. Runner on second in Dush, who got a leadoff walk, was down 0-2 in the count. Got it to 3-2 and then reached on the walk. As Ryan checking over on Dush at second. As we mentioned, he already stole second right there. So trying to keep him there and avoid a situation where you can get a sacrifice fly. Dush now 3 for 3 on the year in stolen bases. That one's outside for ball 3. It's now 3-1 the count. 1 out here. Walk doesn't kill you, but with the middle of the lineup coming up, or the heart of the order, I should say, probably not ideal to put 2 on with 1 out. Does set up the double play ball. Not a situation you want to be in, as Ryan paints that outside corner. We've got another 3-2 count here. Pivotal pitch here. Castleton looks to get the offense going. Castleton as a team so far this year has scored 76 total runs. As that one goes to the backstop, it's ball 4. Wild pitch. We'll move the runner over to third as Dush advances on that wild pitch. And now it is first and third for the Spartans with just one out in the inning. So far, though, it's pretty much been boom or bust since that single by Cardozo in terms of how Castleton's been able to get on. They've gotten on via 2 walks now and moved runners on stolen bases and wild pitches, which has now set up runners on the corner here with 1 out and Tyler McLean up as he fouls that one off. McLean leading the team in average at 365 coming into the game. Second on the team in RBIs, tied for the team lead in home runs with Hunter Perkins, Reese DeCastro, and Jackson Cardozo. Ryan throws that one outside. It's now 1-1 the count. 4-5-0 on the board for the Beacons. 0-1-1 for the Spartans. Early going in this one, top third. That one swung and a miss by McLean. He climbed the ladder on him there. Count moves to 1-2. So another at bat in which Ryan is ahead in the count. That's all 4 at bats now this inning in which he's gone ahead. But the Castleton hitters have been patient, as I've mentioned, to battle back in that count, making Ryan throw it where he needs to get the play. And that's going to be a 4-6-3 double play. D-Rye is that guy. He gets the job done. Gets out of the jam. Beacons don't allow any runs to come across there as the 6-4-3 ends the inning. No runs on no hits. No errors and 1 left on base for the Spartans. We head to the bottom of the third inning. It's going to be Joey Morrison, Drew Metzdorf, and Aiden Blake coming to bat for the Beacons. Drew Metzdorf, Aiden Blake, and Nick Palma coming to bat for the Beacons in the bottom of the third. We'll take a quick commercial break and bring it back in a little bit. The Beacon Broadcast Network, sponsored by LittleEast.tv.
On the starting block, we look at each other as fellow human beings and not just competitors. Being able to recognize the hard work that other athletes are putting in creates a more positive and inclusive environment.
Comprehensive learning is being able to adapt to experiences and apply the things that I learned. Being an athlete and juggling academics helped me grow as a person, and things that I've learned, I was able to apply it in another field, putting them into everyday life. Developing comprehensive learning helped me prioritize certain things to make sure I get to where I want to be.
Paris changed my life, and I got there through UMass. Those very specific seminal moments in Paris, the subway, a man.
Welcome back to Monin Park. I mentioned in the top of the second that we were hungry for some runs, and then the Beacons end up scoring 4 in that inning. I guess you can call it an announcer's jinx if you want, but in the best way possible for UMass Boston as Drew Metzdorf steps in. That's ball number 1. It's a 1-0 count. Metzdorf, as we mentioned, making UMass Boston baseball history down in Florida, hitting for the cycle as he skies that one into right field. Coming in to grab it is Cardozo. That's the first out of the inning. And he'll send Aiden Blake to the plate. Blake had a hit in his first at bat, a single to left field. Got the scoring started for the Beacons. Got the big inning started for the Beacons. As Palma followed it up with the single of his own, and then a 2 RBI triple by Zerilli Jr. into the Bermuda Triangle out there in center field. Part of the 4-run inning for the Beacons as that one's in there for strike number 1. Monin Park has some interesting dimensions. It's replicated after Fenway Park in terms of the dimensions. For the most part, the Green Monster that we have out in left field is a little bit lower than the actual Green Monster, but the dimensions are pretty much the same across the board. And so that area of the outfield, and the outfield in general, is pretty treacherous for opposing teams, if you're not used to it, to kind of work their way around as the count moves to 1-2 on Blake. We've seen it before. I know when I was calling the MIT game, we saw it quite a bit in right field, where if that ball goes into the cozy corner over there, it's kind of hard for fielders to figure out how to play it, as that one's in there for strike 3 on the outside corner. Blake goes down looking for out number 2, which will send Nick Palma to the plate. We saw Craig Corliss hit a few balls over there. He seems to slap it that way, and for the most part, it does the job, because the outfielders tend to shade more towards center field than they do that corner, and that sharp cutoff right there makes it hard to play it, especially off that wall there. That pitch is high for ball 1. Makes it a little bit more difficult to play that ball and allows for some more extra base hits, especially if it bounces off the wall at just the right angle. Palma takes that one for strike 1. Count moves to 1-1. Palma leading the team in average, as I mentioned before, got on with a hit to raise that average a little bit more in his first at bat. That one's popped into foul territory. DeCastro is going to make the play, and the Beacons go down quickly in order. 1, 2, 3, no runs, no hits, no errors, no one left on base for UMass Boston in the 3rd inning. It's 4-0 as we reach just finished off the first third of the game, and we'll take a quick look at what's coming up next for your UMass Boston Beacons. Obviously, we mentioned this is a doubleheader today, so we're settling in for 18 total innings of ball today. But here you see the UMass Boston baseball upcoming schedule. We continue our homestand against Tufts University at 3 p.m. on Tuesday. And then a Thursday afternoon game against Western New England University at 3 p.m. on Thursday. And then WestCon on the road that Saturday for an LEC matchup in a doubleheader that starts at noon. And then back home for Eastern Naz the week after that at 6 p.m. It'll be a night under the lights at Monin Park. And then the very next day against Endicott at 3 o'clock p.m. So that's a look at the next 5-6 games for UMass Boston coming up. No Little East Conference play outside of that WestCon series, but Little East Conference play will come quick and fast. Obviously, when you're able to play 40 games as a team with baseball and you're playing against your 8 different LEC opponents, that's 16 games. So you have a lot of extra games to add. You have the Florida trip, but lots of non-conference, whereas you see with like the basketball teams, they have some early non-conference games, and then it's pretty much just LEC play through the rest of the season until you hit the postseason if you make the NCAA tournament. So lots of different variables depending on the sport that you're a part of and how many games that you'll play and what teams you'll play against and how often you'll get to see those non-conference opponents. It's always fun to see different teams come in to the stadium, to the Clark Athletic Center all year long. It's always an exciting feeling to see something new. Not that it's not fun to see your typical LEC opponents, as that one is swung on and missed. The rivalries that are built up over the year coming from EastCon. It's always a joy to see them come into here or catch a game down there and catch up with some of the student workers and the staff that are down there. Great programs down there as well as up here at UMass Boston. So it's fun to see the Little East Conference opponents, but it's just as great to see some new non-conference opponents from time to time, as well as Cardozo jumps ahead in the count 2-1 now against Dylan Ryan, who already has 5 strikeouts, got a big inning-ending double play against Tyler McClain last inning, 4-6-3. That one's in the first strike. It's now 2-2 the count. Ryan looking to manufacture a 6th strikeout of the game in just 4 innings. In just the 4th inning, excuse me. That one's low for ball 3. Three-two count coming to Cardozo, who has the only hit of the day so far for Castleton, his single in the first that was right at the middle. And he's going to walk to lead off the inning. So the second straight inning in which Castleton gets the leadoff hitter on via walk. They still have not been able to put the ball in play since Cardozo 9 batters ago in the first inning, as he walks right there. Ryan has been super efficient so far in terms of how he's approached all the hitters. That one's in there for a strike. 0-1 the count. We talk about the strikeouts. The new single game strikeout record was set last year, as that one's cut on and missed by Alex Amalfi, who's now with the Blue Jays organization. As someone who worked at East Con last year, getting to see that during the Little East Conference tournament was pretty incredible, setting down Southern Maine. As they pitch out there looking for Cardozo to steal, he does not go. You have a pitch to waste there, up 0-2 against the cleanup hitter in Evan Keegan, so might as well do it there. Ryan delivers the 1-2, low and in the dirt. It bounces away from Corliss, but no movement over there from Cardozo. Count is now 2-2. Ryan gets set and fires. That one's fouled off, and that'll go over towards the garage over there in the right side. I mentioned the first time I was on, if you're parking here for a baseball game, don't park on the left side of the parking garage if you're coming in, because there is the potential that your car could be hit by a foul ball. Use the right side if you can, or the roof. Great shots from up on the roof as well of the park, as that one goes right into West Garage as I'm saying that. Foul to my right. Count remains 1-2. Keegan battling there in the box. Excuse me, 2-2 is the count. That one's fouled off yet again. So Keegan fighting right now to stay alive. Ryan got up in the count early. Keegan battled back to get it to 2-2. He's fouled off a few pitches here. Ryan ready with 2-2. Swung on and missed. Another strikeout for Dylan Ryan. 6 strikeouts now for the righty, as Hunter Perkins now comes to the plate. I mean, coming into the game, I did mention Dylan Ryan does have a pretty good K to strikeout, K to walk ratio. Just 1 walk on the year coming into this as they check over at Cardozo on first. 12 strikeouts. He didn't lead the team in strikeouts coming into today. That would be Ross Dexter, who had 17. But now with his 6, he has 18 and now does lead the team in strikeouts. There's another check over there at Cardozo on first. Top 4 here, 1 out, 1 on. Ryan has walked 3 batters in this game, but Castleton hitters have just not been able to make contact since the first inning, as that one's cut on and missed for strike number 1. We've seen a few foul balls, but nothing has made it into play other than the double play ball and a couple of flyouts and a single. So 4 balls put into play so far as the count moves to 1-1. Everything else has been the work of Dylan Ryan on the mound. That one's low for ball 2. Count moves to 2-1. Perkins in his first at-bat went down via strikeout in the second inning. Evan Keegan, who just struck out swinging, also struck out swinging in his first at-bat. We're at the part of the order who Dylan Ryan went on that 4 strikeout run in the second inning as Perkins swings and misses at that one. Count moves to 2-2. And Ryan looks like he's just ready to work at all times. Castleton hitters trying to set their own pace. And that one's yet another strikeout for Dylan Ryan. 7 now, lucky 7s in just the 4th inning already. Dylan Ryan is dealing against this Castleton lineup. Again, he's coming off his best start of the year, in which he went 5 innings against FDU Florham, and with the lead being what it was, and being in line for the win, head coach Brendan Eigerbrodt elected to go to the bullpen from there, as that one's fouled off by Addison Schaub, and allow his starter to get the win. And he only threw 69 pitches in that game, so he's working off of all that rest, as that one swung on and missed. You know, that FDU Florham game was on the 17th. It's been a week since Ryan last pitched. So he's had a week break through 69 pitches in that one. That one's outside. Of course, the Beacons after that game flew back that night. 10:30 flight, got back to Beaconville at about 2, 3 in the morning. And then they had a few days off before hitting the field against Johnson and Wales. I had a few days off before covering that Johnson and Wales game as well. That pitch is outside. Count moves to 2-2. This week we've had a couple of softball games, couple of baseball, and men's tennis got underway on Tuesday. Women's tennis was slated to play yesterday. As that pitch is high. Getting into second safely is Cardozo with the stolen base. So runner on second. That's a ball. Count moves to 2-2 to Schaub, with 2 outs and a runner on second. 3-2 the count. Women's tennis against Wheaton was postponed for the time being due to rain yesterday. The forecast. The men's tennis match against Clark was also rescheduled due to rain. That one's fouled off. Men's tennis for tomorrow also postponed due to rain. They fell to University of St. Joseph 7-2 on Tuesday in their first game of the spring season. And baseball obviously won against Johnson Wales. That's another strikeout for Dylan Ryan. He again strikes out the side after the lead-off walk. That is yet another strikeout. 8 strikeouts through 4 innings for Dylan Ryan, as no runs, no hits, no errors, 1 runner left on base again via that walk. So we head to the bottom of the 4th inning. We'll keep it here. Continue to chat as Cirilli Jr., Corliss, and Jimenez due up. But as I mentioned, this week, a lot of action on the field. You had that win against Johnson and Wales, 13-11. And then yesterday, the Suffolk University win, 21-8. And softball, we haven't even talked about softball here. They're going to get underway shortly. Milton Posner will have the call for you over there at 3 o'clock. And next game after that should be starting around 5 against Emmanuel. Softball is off to one of their best starts in program history. They're now 9-2 after winning 9-1 in 5 innings yesterday and 7-1 in 7 innings against Bridgewater State University. Bree Melchionda, another masterful performance in Game 2 with 13 strikeouts. She had that big performance against Utica as well. Utica was undefeated coming to that game, and the Beacons knocked them off. They fell to Muhlenberg College in their final game of the spring break trip. Came back 7-2, which is one of their best starts in program history. Now 9-2 with that doubleheader sweep yesterday. Looking to get another sweep today. They have not kicked off Little East Conference play again. That was rescheduled from tomorrow to today due to that pending rainstorm. As we get ready to kick off the bottom of the 4th here with Gianni Cirilli Jr. at the dish. He had his 2 RBI triple last inning as he cuts and misses at that one. That was Cirilli Jr.'s 3rd triple of the season. He now leads the team. Aiden Blake was tied with him. Drew Metzdorf leads the team with 4 triples. Now Cirilli Jr. moves to 2nd on the team with 3. as he's quickly behind in the count against Riley Orr, 0-2. Lots to look forward from Beacon baseball this spring, Beacon softball. Again, these two teams off to a hot start. Men's lacrosse looking to defend their LEC titles. That one's fouled off towards the garage in right field. And all the teams seem to be clicking on all cylinders right now. They went down to Florida and South Carolina and righted the ships, it looks like. And now you come back to the Harbor campus and you look to continue that hot streak as LEC play kicks off, as that one's fouled off. We got Josh Eastman in the box with us right now. Eastman has had a few good innings for the Beacons earlier this year. 4.15 ERA this season, 4 appearances and a save in 4 1/3 innings. Had some big innings down in Florida. We're going to have Josh Eastman come on with us in the 5th inning of this one. Give us some insight into how his year's been going and what he's most excited for the spring. Really Jr. swings and fouls that one off. I told you we'd probably bring on some guests throughout this doubleheader today, you know, making a little bit of excitement here, you know. Baseball's exciting as is with the 18 innings of fun we have today. Why not add to the entertainment and bring on some people when we can? As Really Jr. chops that one foul on the first base side. Count remains 1-2. No outs here. The bottom of the 4th. 4-5-0 for UMass Boston. 0-1-1 for Castleton. Dylan Ryan has been throwing heat to the Spartans hitters so far. 8 strikeouts. Walked a few batters, but has been getting the job done, as that one swung and a miss by Zerilli Jr. for out number 1 here. Just Orr's second strikeout in the game. He came into the inning with 1 strikeout. And as I had talked about, he had that impressive 35 strikeouts in 25 innings. So the Beacon hitters being aggressive and making contact. That one's in the first strike. As I talked about too, he's only walked 5 batters. He's walked nobody today. So staying true to his form there. The Beacon hitters just had that run there in the second inning that pushed across 4 for them. Orr fires. That one just outside. 1-1 count. 1 out here. Craig Corliss, the batter. That one's grounded to short. Throw over to Ramirez in time for out number 2. That was Ryan Lawrence over there. That brings up Mariana Jimenez, designated hitter, to the plate. 2 outs here. Jimenez up. Hitting .250 on the year with 8 hits, 3 RBIs. Stolen 2 bases. Seen some time in left field. Got to start at third base to start the year, as Drew Metzorf was out with a minor injury in that one and then came back the very next game. But Jimenez held it down for a game there in the hot corner. Split some time in the outfield with Luke Levitt. And has also DH at times as well. That one's lined up the middle, and that's going to get by Lawrence's outstretched glove. It's a base hit for Jimenez, who now has a double and a single, so he is halfway to the cycle already. Could we see the second cycle in program history in our first game back at Monin Park? Who knows? Anything is possible. Here with Beacon baseball returning from their Florida trip, as that one is a strike The throw down from Schaub. Looked like the ball went loose from Lawrence's glove, and Jimenez in there safely with the stolen base. So runner in scoring position now for Justin Gouveia. Hitting 130 coming to this game. Got a triple and 2 doubles, 3 hits, 23 at bat, 7 walks as well. So a patient hitter. That's in there for ball 1. Jimenez on second, or looking to get out of the inning without giving up another run. He's already given up 4 in this one as that one hits the outside corner for a strike. 1-2 count. Or looking to escape the runner in scoring position. 2 out. It's outside, ball number 2. 2-2 the count. Or so far outside of that 1 inning, has retired the Beacons in order twice, and then before that Jimenez hit, had retired 5 straight Beacon hitters. Now looks to retire 6 of the last 7 as that one tying outside for ball 3. 3-2 the count. Here in the bottom of the 4th. Again, game 2 will probably get underway about 30-40 minutes after this one concludes. And that one's on the outside corner for strike 3. The home plate umpire, Mark Delaney's been giving that outside corner quite a bit in this one. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left on base. Beacons still leading 4-0 as we head to the 5th. Be Ramirez, Dush, and Lawrence due up. We'll take a quick commercial break and bring Josh Eastman on for the 5th inning here on the Beacon Broadcast Network, sponsored by LittleEast.tv.
In a tuxedo walked in, and a woman in a long gown, and it was stunning. It all hit me. It was like a lightning bolt. There was this world of beauty and style that I wanted to be a part of. That was the beginning of the journey, and that all came through the University of Massachusetts. And that was really a key moment for me. That's one of those moments you never forget.
Celebrate the soggy shoes and the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins. Not the shiny, nail-biting kind. These are the last a lifetime kind.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you.
I just wanted to get good grades and to do well. But it also made me realize that I have a lot of career goals.
Back here on the Beacon Broadcast Network, sponsored by LittleEast.tv for the top of the 5th inning. And we've got our special guest now, Josh Eastman, in the press box with us to cover the 5th inning with us. Josh, how you doing?
Doing all right. Dealing with an injury right now. Hopefully back soon.
That one is flied to right field. Making the catch is Gouveia over there against Ramirez for out number 1. We'll send Cannon Dush to the plate. Yeah, down in Florida, I didn't mention this during the last half inning. I wanted Josh to. Josh suffered an injury on the 3rd pitch of his appearance against Johns Hopkins. But it sounds like you're looking to hopefully be back later in the season.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Got an MRI coming up this week. Kind of give me more insight on how much time I'll be missing. Hopefully it's all positive news.
Yeah, we hope so too. Eastman closing a few games for the Beacons down in Florida as that pitch is in there for strike number 1. and really the back-end anchor of the bullpen. Is this your final season, or are you coming back for one more as the grad student?
Nah, this is it for me. I'm done after this one. I've been in school for too long. I got to get out and get a job.
And you transferred from where again?
I went to Southern New Hampshire before I came to UMass.
Yeah, you came alongside it, but it was Sam Gray, correct? He also transferred from there?
Sam's from Maine. I'm from Nick Assad is also from Southern New Hampshire.
I knew it was one of those two. I know we had a few transfers on the team this year, but what's been the best part about your experience as a Beacon so far this year? First year with the team, last year with the team, I guess, but
I mean, honestly, just love the team vibe. We're a good group. We all want to win. So it's great going out and competing with them every day.
That one swung on and missed for strike 3. That's the 9th strikeout of the game for Cannon Dush. 2 outs here brings Ryan Lawrence to the plate. What have you liked so far from the team so far that you've seen this year? I know I've talked about it a little bit earlier in the broadcast about the pitching kind of has been lackluster so far. I mentioned it earlier. They have a team ERA of 6.03. So obviously you kind of probably want to see that get down, but have the pitchers been working to kind of, enhance their mechanics as the season's gone on to help bring that down as, we head towards LEC play?
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of new guys coming in, earning roles, and obviously guys stepping up in spots of guys who have gone down with injuries and whatever. So, I mean, it's good to see people stepping up. Hopefully it continues to happen all year.
As that's 10 strikeouts now for Dylan Ryan through 5 innings. We might want to pull up that Alex Amalfi record all of a sudden as he's quickly approaching it depending on how long he decides to go and the way he's retiring these Castleton hitters. As we'll keep it here, kind of recap what happened as we were talking to Josh in this past half inning. So Brandon Ramirez with the fly out to Justin Gavea in right field, and then Cannon Dush went down by a swinging strikeout, and then a strikeout looking right there from Ryan Lawrence will send the Beacons back to the plate with the top of the order and Breon Parker, Joey Morrison, and Drew Metzdorf. But we'll continue to keep Josh on air here for the 5th inning. And what was your favorite part about Florida? Obviously you suffered the injury, so that probably was one of the lower points of it, but kind of what was it like for you down in Florida first time with the team doing that sort of thing?
I mean, it was really good. We got to go down there and play a lot of good teams. Even in the games we lost, we really battled, and obviously those were we played some top 10 teams. So, I mean, we definitely learned a lot about our team, that we're able to stay in games and compete, especially late in games, which last year we had some games where we gave away late in the game, where I felt like this year we really battled against some really tough opponents.
Yeah, I mean, you guys stayed competitive, obviously seeing it firsthand down there. You were competitive through pretty much the entirety of the games, and then just some faltering down the stretch in a few of them, or just the offense wasn't clicking on that night. It seemed like the nights where the pitching was pretty good, that the offense just didn't generate runs, but you guys seem to be starting to click on all cylinders. What was the key, obviously, were you with the team the last 2 days on the road?
I haven't been, no.
Oh, you weren't? Okay.
Go to the doctors, yeah.
I was going to ask you how the vibe was, of course, with the big comeback win against Johnson and Wales on Tuesday, and then yesterday's big win. How have the guys kind of, I mean, obviously being around them today, kind of seemed coming back as Parker laces that one into left field. It's lined, though, right at the left fielder, Hunter Perkins, for the first out of inning. What's kind of the vibe been like since returning from the trip from Florida? I know being down there early on, especially, the energy was really high in the dugout in that Loris game. It kind of cooled off during the middle few games, then we got back. It felt like the energy kind of came back towards the end of that trip, and that momentum's kind of carried over.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we want to just keep any momentum we have going. We have a lot of young guys playing, so they're getting their, first innings in and all that. So it's good to see. I mean, we have 2 freshmen leading off our lineup, which, is really good to see the young guys playing well and staying in the lineup.
I talked a little bit about that earlier, actually, with the freshmen early in this game, about how, you've got a lot of veterans on this team, like Luke Levitt and amongst others who, see those starting roles, and they're splitting time with Joey Morrison, Breon Parker, and even Mariano Jimenez, just because they've been hitting Chris Duco, another name on there. It seems like you guys got you've got a lot of depth on this team, and a lot of these young kids are stepping up in their first games of their collegiate career.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely brings out the competitive nature in everyone when, you know, you have a guy right behind you trying to take your spot, and it's not in a bad way. It's just everyone's driving everyone to be better. So it's good to see that they're all, you know, on each other and everyone's supporting each other, and, you know, we're just going to hopefully keep that going. And, you know, if somebody goes down, the next man up steps up.
Yeah, next man up mentality is what I was thinking while you were speaking about that is, you know, you kind of have that cushion of people in the back end as that one skied out into Perkins. In left field again, Morrison retired for the second out of the inning, and Drew Metzdorf comes to the plate. You kind of get that feel that if any one of these starting 9 go down, you guys have the depth in your back pocket, I mean, to continue to be competitive at a high level. And you guys have been doing it on the base paths with the stolen bases and defensively as well. I know I mentioned earlier, too, Breon Parker in center field. How much has he meant to all your pitchers with the way he covers all that ground out there and makes some fantastic plays? I know Jackson Snyder during one of the games said you guys really owe him at the end of this year for everything he's done already in just 12 games so far this year.
Oh yeah, he deserves a steak dinner for sure. He's covered so much ground, and makes it super easy to kind of just, you know, take some chances with your pitches. You know, maybe in a different setting you would be going for, you know, certain pitches that would keep the ball on the ground or whatever, but we have more confidence that we can, you know, elevate in the zone, do stuff where, you know, the batter might get it up there, but we have trust that Breon's going to go track it down.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it in the first inning, one of the few fly balls that's been hit in this game is that one's fouled off by Metzdorf. Counts 1-2 now. You saw it in the first inning, the way he just literally went from dead center all the way over to where Joey Morrison was in left field and called him off for that ball. He's made a few great diving plays, and you know, it seems like he's still learning how to navigate the outfield at times, especially down in Florida. I noticed it with some of the more heavy sunshine games, but for the most part, he's really come into his own in, you know, just 12 games as a freshman coming onto this team that has just so much depth and competitive nature to it. And it's exciting to see for this team, obviously, but with Little East Conference play coming up, I mean, you got the feeling you got some big dogs in this conference. So what's the approach for you guys going into these doubleheaders, even against the team like Castleton today? As that one is strike 3, throw down to first in time, no runs, no hits, no one left on base through 5. But we'll stay here, and so like I just mentioned, Josh, you know, what is the kind of the approach with Little East Conference play now with big dogs like Eastern, Southern Maine, and even UMass Dartmouth, who have all been ranked ahead of you in the preseason, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's got to be going to every game with the mentality that we think we're better, but we got to prove it. You know, execute all our pitches, hitting timely counts, hitting spots where there's runners in scoring position, and we just got to do everything the right way. Make sure we stick with the approach of, like, every pitch matters, every at-bat matters. Don't let anything get away. You know, it doesn't matter if we're up by 10, down by 10, whatever. We just got to keep working every single at-bat, every single pitch, and make sure that we stay on top of each other and support each other the whole time.
And it seems like just by, you know, being around the coaching staff, obviously down in Florida last week, that it seems like they really instill those points with you guys. You know, you guys have a lot of talent, but you got to go out there and prove it. And you guys can be right up there with a lot of the other teams. And I see that from the coaching staff, just from that standpoint, that they really try and hammer that home, it seems like. But
yeah, for sure. I mean, they expect a lot out of us, but I think we expect a lot out of ourselves. So it's become, you know, we know how good we can be, and we just got to go out there every day and prove it, and you know, keep playing the game the right way and do everything we can to. It doesn't matter, you know, an ugly win's still a win. So we'll take all that. You just got to limit those losses, and you know, if you win every pitch, you win every at bat, you're going to win a lot of games. And as long as we're playing cleanly, you know, there's very few teams I think can beat us when we're playing our game.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, again, like I've mentioned before, have been clicking offensively and have really found a way to attack opposing pitchers. And once your guys, as you mentioned, the freshmen and the guys getting into their new roles, once Sam Gray is at full strength, as you know, he's working back from Tommy John and has been pitching up slowly to his potential, you got the feeling that once that pitching starts to click, as long as the offense keeps rolling, that it will be tough to beat you guys down the stretch against a team like EastCon late in the year when you take them on for the last doubleheader of the season. That one's fouled off for strike 1 to reach the Castro.
No, it hit him.
Oh, it hit him?
Yeah, got him in the elbow. Yeah, I mean, I think moving forward, we have guys, Dylan O'Donnell went down yesterday with, he hit a ball off his foot. D-Ry on the mound right now, he's coming back. He looks really good, but he was coming back from an injury. Sam Gray looks, really good coming back from Tommy John surgery, so there's a lot to be excited about.
Yeah, I was actually just going to ask you, too, about Dylan Ryan. What have you seen from him today? I mean, he had a great start down in Florida and threw just around, I think, I had 69 pitches on my counter. I think he was more around 72. That one's fouled out of play by Tyler McLean. What have you seen from him in his last start down at FDU Flora? I believe you were tracking pitches or using the radar gun in that one. And today, what has really stood out to you in terms of his approach against batters and how he's been attacking hitters? I mean, he has not allowed a ball. He's only allowed 4 balls into play, or 5 balls after that last flyout in the last inning. And he's just been attacking hitters from there with the walks and the strikeouts. What have you really seen from him in these last 2 starts?
He's had a ton of swing and misses, and he's just attacking batters, using both sides, using, up and down in the zone, and he's just executing a lot of pitches. His slider has been really good, and you could tell that as he strikes him out, he's really working, the corners of the zone, not really giving too many good pitches to hit.
Yeah, that's 11 strikeouts now for Dylan Ryan. And he's quickly approaching Alex Amalfi's single-game strikeout record.
Yeah, I just had Amalfi text me. Do you think Dylan's going to break my record?
Yeah, I said it on air last inning. I said it back in the 4th. I've kind of had the announcers jinxing this one. I was talking about Sunny Green right to my right, talking about how she was hungry, and I said, oh, we're hungry for some Beacon runs, and then we put up 4 runs in that inning, and then I mentioned, Dylan Ryan potentially approaching the strikeout record, and suddenly he went on a tear where he struck out 3, 6, 7 batters from there on out. As Alex Amalfi is actually texting Josh as we speak. So I guess he's tuning in, probably down at Florida Spring Training right now. So fellow UMass Boston alumni Alex Amalfi down with the Blue Jays organization right now. As Dylan Ryan's ahead in the count 1-2 again, 11 strikeouts already, and that one's fouled off to the screen against Jackson Cardozo.
Yeah, I'm sure D-Ry is probably nearing the end of his day here. I mean, coming back from an injury, you don't want to, let him go too long and, re-aggravate anything. He looks really good, and, there's nothing to be upset about with 11 Ks.
Yeah, especially with another shutout performance and only allowing 1 hit. I mean, I have to imagine probably this inning or the next inning is his last one. I was mentioning earlier, too, he's had 7 days off since that last game, and I know down in Florida he was struggling with allergies and stuff before that start, but he looked sharp in that one from the get-go and didn't miss a beat.
Yeah, he always comes to play regardless as he strikes out another guy. He constantly, regardless of what's going on and how he feels, he's going to come out of that mound and he's going to compete every day, which is what a true leader does. I mean, he gets on the mound and nothing else matters. It's just him and the batter. So it's good to see that regardless of what's going on with him, he's getting on that mound and doing all he can to get us a win.
So the strikeout record as a team is now 22 after that Amalfi performance last year. He had 18 strikeouts in 7 innings. Dylan Ryan has 12 in 6. So he'd probably at this rate have to go, I would think, 8 innings if he wanted to get there. Probably a complete game. So probably won't get it today. But he may actually be up there in terms of all-time leaders in the record book. As we pull that up, is with 11. So yeah, with 12, he would tie a few UMass Boston players on the all-time leaderboard, as that's a stolen base there for Reese DeCastro. He's got 12 right now, so he's tied Darwin Mesa, Tim Byrne, Nick Conway, James Dalton, and Brian Kaufman on the all-time board. If he gets another one here, he'd move up into a tie for 4th all-time, as that one's chopped foul, with Kevin Sweeney and Matt Tully. AJ Jean and Nick Conway also at 15, and then Jamie Soto and Will Barrick at 16. Amalfi then stands alone at 18. So Dylan Ryan has etched his name in the record books now for UMass Boston on the list and could potentially climb up even higher on it.
Slider.
the 2-2 count here as that one's chopped to short. Zerilli Jr. fires over. Short hop is going to get away from Palma. Run's going to score. In the second is Keegan. See how it's ruled. So that's going to be an E6 on the throw. That makes the run unearned to Ryan. So the shutout preserved in terms of for his personal earned run average. But on the scoreboard, it's now a 4-1 game. Runner on second now with 2 outs. And you got Hunter Perkins at the plate.
You got a slow runner at second. You don't have to really worry about him as much. Just focus on the batter and try to get out of the inning.
Yeah, stolen bases, as we mentioned, they had a couple early on in this one. They've had 3 today. As that one's just low for a ball, 1-1 the count. I mentioned in the first game how Craig Corliss had a few rough throws getting loose in that game where MIT stole a few bases. But then he seemed to start to figure it out as the young season went on to get those runners out. And he's been much more efficient as that one's going to be a little bit of a trek out there in left field for Joey Morrison, but he makes the catch as the side is retired. So a run comes home for Castleton. No hits yet again for Castleton as another error in this game. It goes to Johnny Zerilli on the throw, allowing Reese DeCastro to score. One runner left on base. It's 4-1 as we head to the bottom of the 6th. Josh, thanks for coming on for about an inning and a half with us and talking. We'll have more people on throughout the day, but thanks for coming on for a little bit. We'll probably have you on a few more times this year if you're around on color with some of our other broadcasters, but we appreciate you coming on for an inning and a half here.
Sounds good. It was fun.
Thank you. We'll take a quick commercial break here on the Beacon Broadcast Network, sponsored by LittleEast.tv. Back with you in a minute here on the Beacon Broadcast Network.
Experience. Not only participate in your sport, but participate in things outside of that, and it's all about growing as a person.
My coaches have helped me with figuring out who I really am. Their lives are dedicated for us to succeed.
Being a part of the different activities and organizations that I've been a part of, I'm actually able to see myself where I'm like, hey, I actually can make a change. I'm one person that can make a difference.
Division III has helped me to develop teamwork skills, critical thinking skills, time management skills.
It's not just about basketball, or it's not just about school, it's about developing yourself as a person altogether.
I'm the first undergraduate alumnus to lead this university. I'm very proud of that. I was literally able to transform my life because of the University of Massachusetts.
Welcome back inside Monin Park for the bottom of the 6th inning. You just heard Josh Eastman for the last inning and a half, the Beacon closer, looking to hopefully return from injury later this year. I told you we'd have a few guests on, at least in the second game, and Josh came into the box, so we figured why not have him come on and talk for a little bit, during this game. He heads back down with his team as that one is skied in the air to right field, and Blake is going to have a ground rule double as that one gets over the short wall in right field. I told you that cozy corner over there kind of makes it hard to play the ball as Blake in there with a double, his second hit of the day. The runner on second, the leadoff hitter of the inning, reaches second, and that brings up Nick Palma to the plate. 1 for 2 on the day with a single, but like I mentioned, going to have a few people hopefully on in our second game as well. It's always nice to talk to some of our Beacon athletes and get their insight, especially in some of the games like this where you have that time to do it as that's in there for a strike. You know, it's a little bit harder to do that in basketball or hockey and talk about something else, but with the sport like baseball or softball, you have a little bit more downtime and between pitches and stuff where you can kind of get some insights from people, and it's nice to talk to some players on the team, and we'll talk to a few of our athletes there as well, as that one's fouled off on the attempted bunt by Palma. Count 0-2. The bottom of the sixth here. It's still a tight game. The Beacons put up those 4 runs, but Riley Orr has quelled the offense since then. Beacons looking to try and get that run back here as Palma fouls that one off onto the BC High field. Watch out over there as Beacon Lacrosse is actively, looks like running a scrimmage or a drill at the very least, and it went right into their field of play. Count 0-2. Blake on second with that leadoff double. And Palma hits that one down the left field line. Foul. Count remains 0-2. Just got word that Dylan Ryan's at 102 pitches through 6, so have to think his day might be over. I don't see anybody in the bullpen, though, at the moment. Oh, no, now I can. It's kind of hard to see over that wall. That ball is outside. 1-2 the count. Hard to see. I think I see a 25 out there, but can't tell. That would be Ethan Herrera if that's the case. That one's grounded to second. Corralled over there by McLean. He fires over to first for out number 1. Blake moves on over to third. So the Beacons, with only 1 out, have a chance to potentially plate that run with Zerilli Jr. at the plate. Sacrifice fly can do the job here and give you that 4-run cushion back. However, like I mentioned, Castleton hitters have not really been able to manufacture offense. Dylan Ryan has really just kept them in check. Again, only that 1 hit up the middle by Cardozo in the first inning. Otherwise, 1 run, 1 hit, and that run coming in on the error. Few walks, few stolen bases. So they've been doing it on the base pass. It's just the bats have not been working for the Spartans in game number 1. And they have their ace on the mound right now in Riley Orr, who's given them a good outing outside of that second inning where Beacons manufactured 4 hits. They only have 3 across the rest of it as that ball bounces into the dirt. Schaub corrals it. No harm, no fouls. The runner stays at third. And Blake. Two-one count, bottom 6, 1 out. Runner on third. Beacons leading 4-1 in game 1 of this doubleheader. That one swung on and fouled out of play towards the garage. Count moves to 2-2. Two-two count with 1 out here. Or firing in. Zerilli Jr. chops that one through the hole. A base hit. Blake comes in from third. Zerilli Jr. with his second hit of the game. The Beacons are back in front by 4, 5-1. So getting that run right back. That's a big one for the Beacons. And again, going with that sort of announcer's jinx I've had today. We talked about how the Beacon pitching had a high ERA coming into this one, but they've put it together now since then. And into the game, as it looks like we're going to get a pitching change. Coming out onto the mound is number 10, Stephen Coffey. Coffey comes into this game with a 21 ERA. He's 0-1 on the year. He's made 3 appearances. He's pitched 3 innings. Given up 7 runs, all earned, 5 walks and only 1 strikeout. 3 extra base hits, a double, a triple, and a home run. Opponents hitting .571 against him. Again, across just 3 innings. He also started a game. So he'll come out of the bullpen in relief of Riley Orr, who's done after 5 1/3 innings. Gives up 5 runs, 4 of which were earned. On 8 hits, he is responsible for Zerilli Jr. on first, though. So keep that in mind for the final line. But as of right now, as it stands, Orr faced 24 batters, allowed 3 extra base hits, got 5 strikeouts. And again, he exits after 5 1/3 innings in this one. As he'll face off, Coffey will face off against catcher Craig Corliss. Talked about Corliss. He had a big day yesterday. He had 4 RBIs against Suffolk University. Everybody really got into the action in that one. Corliss, 4 doubles, a home run, and 8 RBIs coming into this game. He's hitting .205. He's 0 for 2 on the day. But he's been big defensively behind the plate for UMass Boston this year. So, you know, even if his bat's not working, he's doing something for the team on the defensive end, which is big. That's when it's in there for a strike from Coffey. That's big. Sometimes it's not always about what you can do at the plate. If you can do it in the field, that's sometimes what you'll be in there for. As that pickoff at first from Coffey is not in time. For a couple of years, former Red Sox outfielder Jackie Bradley Jr. was most known for his glove. Had a few good years hitting, but primarily known for his defensive output. That one's fouled off into the West Garage and bounces into the second floor. Corliss going to have to choke up here as he's got 2 strikes against him. In the bottom of the 6th. That one's outside, and Zerilli Jr. back safely at first. 5-8-1 for the Beacons, 1-1-1 for Castleton here in the bottom of the 6th. 2:43 is the time. Beacon softball kicks off at 3 o'clock. That one in the dirt, no one moving, against Emmanuel College. We mentioned they're 9-2 on the year, one of their best starts in program history. They'll look for 2 more wins today. And Beacon baseball here looking for 2 wins as Corliss lines that one into the gap between left and center. It's a base hit. Rounding third is Zerilli Jr. He's going to stop there. Corliss into second, standing up with a 1-out double. Beacons are in business here against the Castleton bullpen, with a chance to score a few more as Mariana Jimenez comes to the plate. As I mentioned, Jimenez with a double and a single in his first 2 at-bats. So he's halfway to the cycle, but he's got the 2 hardest parts of the cycle to reach now in the triple and the home run. He's got the speed definitely to get a triple, especially with the dimensions of this outfield. And we've seen him lift a few balls that have the potential to be home run power. So it's never out of the question in a game like this. You play all 9 innings. He probably gets 1 more at bat, I'd have to think, with the way the Beacons have been playing today in the 8th inning. At this rate, he took ball 1 outside, and that ball is high for ball 2. 2-0 count from Coffee is in there for a strike. Count now 2-1. Looking at the box score, Gianni Zerilli Jr. leading the way with 2 hits on the day and 3 RBIs. That big 2-run triple, as you mentioned, back in the second, as Jimenez cuts at that and misses. Count moves to 2-2. 3 Beacon hitters with 2 hits on the day. Jimenez, one of them. Zerilli Jr. and Blake. Aiden Blake, the other 2. You mentioned Dylan Ryan spinning an impressive performance as that one's cut on and missed, and Jimenez goes down swinging for out number 2. Which brings up Justin Gavea to the plate with 2 outs and 2 on. A big RBI chance here. You can really break the doors open on this game with a single. Corliss, a little bit of a slower runner on the base path, so maybe only gets 1 run in, but if it gets in the gap, Corliss probably going to score. Gavea looking for his first collegiate RBI as he chops that one back to Coffee. He throws over to Ramirez. Side retired. But the Beacons get that run back. 1 run on 3 hits. No errors, 2 left on base in scoring position. As we head to the 7th inning, Beacons lead 5-1 over the Spartans. And while we get ready for that, let's take a quick look at UMass Boston Athletics schedule in general coming up. As we mentioned, Emmanuel College in town to take on softball at 3 and 5 o'clock today. I mentioned it earlier. We did not correct it before the broadcast started, but men's tennis has been postponed for tomorrow at home, and men's lacrosse has been moved to noon time tomorrow up at Plymouth to try and beat the weather, as those changes came in a little bit earlier today, so didn't have time to get to that. And then when we head into next week, a pretty light week of Beacon athletics. Men's tennis is scheduled right now to play Eastern Nazarene College at 3 o'clock on Tuesday. As I mentioned, the Tufts against baseball at 3 o'clock that same day as well. And then men's lacrosse with their makeup game at New England College on that Wednesday. At 4 o'clock. And we have a pitching change as well. Ethan Herrera on the mound, so it was 25. Herrera coming into this game with an 8.10 ERA. He's 1-0 on the year, 5 appearances, 6 2/3 innings, 9 hits, 6 runs, all earned, 8 strikeouts, 4 walks. He gave up a home run. That was in the MIT game. Since then has settled down in a double as well. He'll face off against Addison Shaw, Brandon Ramirez, and Cannon Dush. Here in the 7th inning, it's a 4-run Beacon lead. It's 5-1 UMass Boston. In the 7th inning, Dylan Ryan's day over after an impressive performance. Ryan throws 102 pitches, 6 innings, 1 run unearned, a hit, 12 strikeouts, and 3 walks. So he hits the UMass Boston record book, tied with Darwin Mesa, Tim Byrne, Nick Conway, James Dalton, and Brian Kaufman with 12 strikeouts. With the Amalfi performance, that moves him to, it'll move Dylan Ryan's performance to 5th all time in that tie with those 5 aforementioned names. As his day ends in impressive fashion, Addison Shaw stepping in to face off against Ethan Herrera as that ball is high for ball 1. Ethan Herrera, another one whose family I had a chance to talk to after the trip. Newington, Connecticut native. Happens to also be where I am from and graduated my high school from. Fun fact as well, I believe I actually did play Little League against Ethan way back in the day, and I was like 11 or 12 years old. Or his younger brother Drew, who played as well in Newington. Another great family down there. That's up here with Beacon Baseball now. That pitch is outside. The count moves to 3-1. My baseball days stopped after 2 years of Little League. That ball's outside, and Schaub with the leadoff walk brings Ramirez to the plate. Brenner Ramirez to the plate now, with a runner on. Another leadoff walk for the Beacons. It was a good 2-year stint until they had to move us up to the big field, and from there it didn't pan out for me. I can remember pitching off the big mound and my catcher saying to me, "I don't know what you're throwing right now, but it's moving so slow that the batters can't hit it." Obviously, that was not sustainable. I played 1 season of fall ball and then called it quits before high school, and instead worked baseball for 7 years with the New Britain Bees, and now covering some baseball games up here on the Harbor campus, filling in today for this doubleheader. As Herrera fires in, strike right there, so the mound visit helps as he gets ahead 0-1 to Ramirez. And he's going to get that ground ball to Zerilli Jr., who throws it to Blake over to first. Can't get him as the ball seemed to just go right through Palma's glove, as that'll be a fielder's choice. So a 6-4 put out at second. Schaub retired. Ramirez reaches first safely. And it actually does look like Palma is trying to fix his glove, so I got to wonder if it might have actually gone through. Fielder's choice. You can't assume a double play on it, so you can't award an error to the fielder for it. Cannon Dush steps in now. Took the first pitch in there for a strike. Runner on first. Herrera fires in, and Dush swings and misses. Dush 1 for 2 today with a walk. He stole a base, advanced to third on a wild pitch, was stranded after the 4-6-3 double play that Tyler McLean hit to back in the 3rd inning. That one is hitting the air over into that cozy corner I talked about, but just gets over the fence. Count goes to 0-2. Stays at 0-2, excuse me. That one's fouled off his back and his helmet. So Dush seems fine by it, and he's going to continue to hit here. It's still an 0-2 count. 1 out. Runner on first. Still only 1 hit in this game for the Spartans. It came in the 1st inning from Cardozo. Since then, the Beacon pitchers have settled in as he gets Dush looking. Herrera with his first strikeout of his relief appearance. 2 away here in the 7th inning. Ryan Lawrence comes to the dish. Lawrence 0 for 2 today. Struck out looking twice. That ball's in the dirt. Count 2-0. Herrera fires that one in there for a strike. 2-1 the count. Both teams on the top step of their dugout, or right in front of the gate in their dugout. There's no step in the dugout. That one's in there for a strike. 2-2 the count. A big first game to Little East Conference play. You want to start off the conference here on a high note, and both teams looking to move to 1-0. And that one's cut on and missed. Lawrence strikes out for the third time on the day. Herrera works around a walk. No runs, no hits, no errors. One left on base. The Beacon pitching staff through 7 innings has been on fire. Only 1 hit given up and 1 error that allowed that 1 run to cross. As we get ready to stretch it out here at Monin Park, Beacons lead at 5-1, and it's still going to be Coffee on the mound for Castleton. Keep it with you as kind of recap this game so far. Riley Orr came into this game with a 2-1 record. Been dominating the Little East so far in terms of winning the Pitcher of the Week award. 3-time recipient of it, and in today's game, he started off with a 1-2-3 first inning, had a rough second inning as 3 straight batters for the Beacons reached on back-to-back singles and a 2 RBI triple from Zerilli Jr. Mariana Jimenez's single got another run across Zerilli Jr. in that, and then Breon Parker reached on a throwing error by Reese DeCastro, allowing yet another run to come in. Beacons lead 4-0, and then from there, Orr was on the money. I mean, he was able to get guys out from there and didn't allow another run. Other than the one in the 6th before being lifted. For Coffee, who's in now, as the top of the lineup is up. We hope you got up, stretched it out, and settled back in for these last couple of innings of game number 1. But don't go anywhere. Make sure you grab some more snacks, popcorn, Reese's Pieces, whatever you want to enjoy for a baseball game at home. Make sure you grab it and come back for game number 2 on the Beacon Broadcast Network, brought to you by LittleEast.tv. That one's in there for a strike. It's 1-1 the count. It'll be a quiet weekend in Beaconville. No home games this weekend, and then we'll be back with you on Tuesday with Tufts University coming to town as that pitch is outside. It's 2-1 the count. Coffee fires. Parker slaps that one to DeCastro. DeCastro charging in. That's a close play. Bang, bang. He gets him. 5-3 for the first out of this bottom of the 7th inning. Brings up Joey Morrison to the plate. He's got a single today. He's 1 for 3 on the afternoon. Seven RBIs on the year. Again, he's another one who started towards the bottom of the lineup and has now worked his way at the top. As Josh Eastman mentioned earlier on when he was on the broadcast, I mean, these freshmen have been finding roles early on in the year, and it's great to see. It shows to the depth of this team and the next up mentality that they can have. You've seen, if you've looked at the box scores in recent games, that head coach Brendan Eigerbrodt has put in a lot of his subs, his bench players later on in games when they've been up big, and they continue to produce as Morrison saws that one off to short. Lawrence over to first, and Ramirez is pulled off the base. Morrison's going to reach safety. We'll see how that one's scored. Going to be just a straight hit for Joey Morrison. So 1 out runner for the Beacons. The throw pulled him off the base, but it was bang bang over there. Brings Drew Metzger to the plate, the 3-hitter. That one's low for ball 1. Metzdorf 0 for 3 on the day. See if he can add his name to the hit category for the Beacons. He's just one of 2 Beacon starters who have not reached base yet today. That one's in their first strike. Him and Justin Gavea are both 0 for 3 on the day, while Breon Parker is also 0 for 4. He reached on the throwing error. So in terms of reaching base, as the pickoff play nearly got Morrison over there at first, but slides back in safely. In terms of just reaching base, 7 of the 9 hitters have reached. Metzdorf looks to add his name to that category as another pickoff attempt. Doesn't work. That one's lined down the line, and it's ruled a fair ball. Metzdorf is going to be the 8th hitter of the day for the Beacons to get on as he looked around second for 2. But Morrison held up at second. Going to be a single for Metzdorf down the left field line. Beacons in business again with 1 out here. 2 on for Aiden Blake, who's 2 for 3 on the day. That one fouled off towards the garage and off the 6th floor poles. 5-1 Beacons here in the bottom of the 7th. Threatening for more, though, against reliever Stephen Coffey. 11 hits for the Beacons today. That one's high, ball 1. Blake, as we mentioned before the game, second in the team in average at .419. Has added 2 more hits to his resume today. Trying to add a 3rd here and maybe an RBI base knocker as that one's low. Ball 2. Two-one count coming from Coffey. Coming into this game, the Beacons 6-0 all-time against Spartans since they moved to the LEC back in 2019. As that one's cut on and missed by Blake. Count moved 2-2. And with the way their offense has performed the last few games, it almost seems like a down game, but it is pretty good by the standards of baseball. As that one's outside, as it's a double steal. Both runners advance. It nearly hit Blake, but it dropped off at the last minute. As Morrison and Metzdorf advance to 2nd and 3rd. Count is now 3-2. Blake sees anything close, he's probably going to go for it. But if he walks, Beacons have the bases loaded as he cuts at that one and misses for out number 2. And Nick Palma will come to the plate now with 2 outs in a 5-1 ball game. Any insurance runs that you can get are big at this point. And only further help the cause for the bullpen, who sent Ethan Herrera out there in the 7th. Doesn't look like anybody else is out there right now, so got to assume Herrera will come out for the 8th. And if you want a little bit of a wacky tidbit of information, if Ethan Herrera were to finish this game, even though it is more than is that they look for a pickoff over there at 3rd against Morrison as Shaw fired over. Morrison dove back in safely. If Herrera were to finish out this game, even though the score is more than a Beacon lead is more than 3 runs in which it would be a save situation, because he would pitch the final 3 innings potentially, he would get a save, because in baseball, if you throw 3 innings at the end of the game with the lead, you get a save, because that one's in there for a strike. Famously, the blowout game with the Rangers and Orioles in the 2000s, which ended, I believe the final score was 30-3. The reliever for the Rangers got the save because he pitched the final 3 innings. As Palma swings at that one and misses, the fire down to first from Schaub is in time. Beacon strand 2 after getting 2 on with 1 out. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, 2 left on base. As we head to the 8th inning, Beacon 6 outs away from their first LEC conference win. And they would then be on a season-high 4-game winning streak, which would push them 9-4 on the year. But they still have work to do as we look to see who's going to take the ball on the mound. We keep it with you. It is, in fact, Ethan Herrera back out there for his 2nd inning of work. So like I mentioned, potential for Herrera to get a save if he were to go this inning and next inning. And you got to think with a 4-run lead, as long as he looks good here and limits his pitch count, I think he might go out there as long as this stays a 4-run ball game for the 9th. But remains to see what Brendan Eigerbrecht wants to do. Every conference game is crucial. You don't want to use too many of your arms in the first game when you have another coming up. And especially in a sport like baseball where you play a lot of weekday games that are non-conference, as a lot of the weekends are taken up by conference games, you want to be kind of a little bit more picky about who you put out there in what situation, because you want to have certain arms come Little East Conference play time. And those doubleheaders are huge. You want to finish the top of the standings. Obviously, a team like the Beacons, the more wins you rack up, better chance you have of hosting the Little East Conference tournament. And what better place to host it than Monin Park, behind a home crowd, in which 6 teams, counting the host team, would descend upon top-seeded campus for the 4-day event. As we get ready to start the top of the 8th here, I want to again thank you for joining us today in our first game of the day between UMass Boston and Castleton University. I'm Michael Vesci on the call for this one, and I'll have game 2 for you as well. We're going to try and bring on some people, hopefully, for that one. Rista Castro steps in, the leadoff hitter, here in the 8th against Ethan Herrera, and he skies that one to Breon Parker in center field. Parker makes the grab, and that's the first out of the 8th inning. Parker now has 3 putouts in this game, most amongst outfielders, and most amongst the entire team, if you don't count Craig Corliss catching all the strikeouts that he's caught today. That one's fouled off. Count moves to 0-1. McLean stepping in 0 for 3 on the day, ground into a double play, flew out Parker as checked down Fitzpatrick at first base. Dan Fitzpatrick, the first base ump, said he didn't go. Count moves to 1-1. At this point, if everything were to hold as is, that one's high for ball 2. Dylan Ryan would get his 2nd win of the year. Riley Orr would take the loss and move 2-2. And pending the pitcher in the 9th inning, there is the possibility that there could be a save opportunity for Ethan Herrera as Parker snags that one. So he's got now 4 putouts. And funny enough, he retired. He's Rista Castro and Tyler McLean have flown out to him twice each. And that's the most putouts in the game for the Beacons, coming from Parker with those 4 putouts, and it's all been with the top 2 batters. That ball is outside to Cardozo, who has the lone hit of the game for Castleton. Now, being a stats guy myself, having done official scoring for many years with the New Britain Bees, doing some official scoring up here and down with the team in Florida, kind of enjoy the stats, especially also being in sports information with UMass Boston for some time at Eastern Connecticut. It's always fun to look at the numbers in these ones, as that one's in there for a strike. Counts now 2-1. Cardozo skies that one out to Govea in right field. Govea, hard time tracking it. Basket catch right there for out number 3. So 3 straight flyouts for the top of the order for the Spartans. No runs, no hits, no errors, no one left on base. As the Beacons will come up in the 8th, they'll send Gianni Zerilli Jr. to play Craig Corliss and Mariano Jimenez. It's going to be Stephen Coffey yet again coming out on the mound. And we're looking at the bullpen right now. It looks like somebody's warming up or getting loose for the Beacons. They've got their jacket off and are starting to do some arm circles. So we probably see a new pitcher, I'd have to assume then, in the 9th, or they're warming him up in case Herrera gets into trouble. But like I mentioned, that pivotal 3rd inning is coming up. It is a 4-run ball game, but Herrera has the chance to earn his first save of the season should he come out for that inning, because he would pitch a 3rd straight inning to close out the game. But it remains to be seen. At this point in the season so far, 3 different Beacon players have recorded a save. Josh Eastman with 1, Josh Garner with 1, and Sam Gray with 1. Josh Garner, he's appeared in 3 games, allowed 1 run on 2 hits and 4 strikeouts and 1 walk. Got to see him pitch 2 innings down in Florida. He was pretty impressive. A freshman. A lot of potential with him. He's a 2-way player. He can also play the field. A Shohei Ohtani of sorts, if you want to compare it to the major league level. We haven't seen him in the field, but he has the ability to do both. As Zerilli Jr. steps in, Beacons in control by 4 here as that first pitch taken for a strike. Zerilli Jr. with a big 2 RBI triple in the 2nd inning, part of that big 4-run 2nd inning. And honestly, that's the difference right now in this game, as since that explosion of offense, the Beacons have been held in check. And if it weren't for that big inning, we'd have a 1-1 ball game and a pitcher's duel at this point, as both sides have really honed in on each other. That one's in there for a strike and found a way to limit the offense. Defense has been the story of the game, the pitching more specifically. An error each for both teams, but otherwise, you can't be too disappointed on both sides. I mean, even though Castleton's given up 5 runs in this one, their pitching has really held UMass Boston in check. And if you're UMass Boston, you got to be happy with this performance of pitching, as, again, I've talked about it a few times. I talked about it with Josh. I talked about it early on in this one, that the Beacon pitching in the last few games has given up 7+ runs. So to allow just 1 now, as really Junior's hit by the pitch, will take first. Beacons in their last 4 games coming into today had allowed over 20 runs as a pitching staff. To be exact, 35 runs coming in today, so 36 over the last 5 games. But perhaps this is a turning point of sorts. 35 runs coming into the game in their last 4, and now they've limited Castleton to 1 run on 1 hit. So big turnaround in that first game of the doubleheader so far. Obviously, there's still the 9th inning and anything can happen as Corliss chops that one. It's going to be a 5-4-3 double play for Craig Corliss. Base is now empty, and we have a pinch hitter. Chris Duco steps to the plate. Will pinch hit for Mariano Jimenez in the 8th spot here in the 8th inning. Duco hitting .250 on the year in 9 games. Started 5 of them. He's got 6 hits and 24 at-bats, a double and 2 RBI. Had a chance to talk to Chris for a little bit down in Florida as well. One of many guys down there who really made it a welcoming experience for me. Tim Cianciello, Johnny Zarelli, Chris Duco, Aiden Blake, Nick Palma, a few of the other bullpen guys. That one outside. Josh Eastman, obviously, who's worked with us. Shaq Snyder, another one who's worked with us. Dylan Ryan. Just to name a few. All the guys were super welcoming, but just a few names to throw out there that I remembered from the trip last week. And, of course, the coaching staff of Brendan Eigerbrodt, Jackie Reynolds, Willie Allen, Brad Fogel, Corey Allard. That one's fouled off by Duco. Count moves to 2-1. 2-1 count, 2 outs here. No one on base for the Beacons. Duco, the pinch hitter, up as he grounds that one up the middle, and that's going to just go right through the glove of Tyler McClain. Should be an E4. And it will be, as Duco reaches base safely, and up to the plate is yet another pinch hitter. Be number 12, Luke Levitt. I mentioned Luke a little bit earlier on. He's another one of our Beacon Broadcast Network guys who's been money for us all fall and winter before his season started up. Always a pleasure to have him with us. So I mentioned, talking about their depth and how Mariano Jimenez has shared time in left field with Levitt. You see Levitt now getting an opportunity here, and I have a feeling we'll probably see him starting in game 2. With the way Brendan Eigerbrodt kind of tinkers with this lineup, a few of the guys you're seeing now pinch hit, I would think you'll probably see in game 2 with the way the lineup has gone day to day, especially being down again in Florida for all those games. You kind of saw day to day playing so many games in such a short span that Coach Eigerbrodt would give his players a day off or two here and there and allow some other guys to get in, and Luke Levitt being one of those. Led the team last year in batting average. Having kind of a slow start to his season, but maybe this could be the turning point for him if he can get a big hit here as he swings and misses. He goes down, swinging in the Beacons. We'll head to the 9th inning. No runs, no hits, 1 error, 1 left on base. We head to the top of the 9th inning. It'll be Evan Keegan, Hunter Perkins, and Addison Schaub looking to finish the deal, as it will in fact, not finish the deal, looking to start a comeback for Castleton. But it'll be Ethan Herrera looking to finish the deal for the Beacon. So, like I mentioned, crazy baseball rules, even though it is more than a 3-run game, Ethan Herrera is now in line for the save if he pitches the entire inning and finishes this game out, as he would have finished 3 full innings for the Beacons. And baseball rules, no matter how many runs a team is up, you get a save in that situation. So, we'll see if Ethan Herrera can get a 3-inning save for UMass Boston in this 5-1 ball game. Luke Levitt moves to left field. Joey Morrison moving over to right field. Breon Parker still in center field, and there's no other changes as Duco is in the DH spot. But to get Levitt out to left field, you have to levitate somebody from left field to right field, and that was Joey Morrison. Justin Gavea out of the game. Devin Keegan looks to try and get a rally going for the Spartans here in the 9th inning. That pitch is high for ball 1. Beacons looking to push their win streak to 4 straight games as that one is high for ball 2. 2-0 the count. Herrera gets that one in there for a strike. Mark Delaney, who's been fantastic in this game behind the plate, calling balls and strikes. 3-1 count now to Keegan. Herrera falls behind the hitter. He did give a lead-off walk up to Addison Schaub in the 7th. Looking to avoid another leadoff hitter getting on here for the Spartans as he throws that one right down the center of the plate for a strike, and the count moves to 3-2. The 3-2 is hitting the air to center field as Parker looked like he was under it, and it's actually going to be Morrison out in right field for the first out of the 9th inning. Morrison has gotten 3 putouts in the outfield, so him and Parker battling for the lead in putouts that have gone into the field of play at 4 and 3. Been a quiet day on the infield. It's either been lifted in the air. The only ball that was hit sharply was really Cardozo's in the first, which was a single up the middle, as that ball is high for a strike. Or for a ball, excuse me. 1-0 the count. Herrera deals. Tie for ball 2. 2-0 count. 1 out here in the top of the 9th inning. Just 1 hit for Castleton, and it was that Cardozo hit. As that's a strike, it's now 2-1 the count. Funny thing is about that Cardozo at bat was Ryan was up in the count 1-2. Cardozo battled back to 3-2 and then ended up getting that hit up the middle. So Ryan was 1 pitch away. We would have had a no-hitter right now, and Castleton would have had a run on no hit. Would have been an interesting look on the scoreboard. That's the way baseball goes. It's still a 5-1 Beacon lead, which you can't complain about if you're a UMass Boston fan, as Luke Levitt out there in left field going to get tested for the first time in his appearance as he makes the catch. And the Beacons are 1 out away from their first win in this doubleheader. Passing shot to the plate. First pitch to Schaub is down low, 1-0. That pitch is hit on the ground to short. Zerilli Jr. backhands it, throws over to first. Ball game over. Beacons win. And it's a big win for the Beacons, who moved to 1-0 in conference play on the year with a 5-1 victory over Castleton University. We'll give you the totals. 1-1-2 for Castleton, 5-11-1 for the Beacons. Dylan Ryan moves to 2-0 on the year after a masterful 12 strikeout performance. Ethan Herrera with his first save of the year. Riley Orr moves to 2-2 on the season. Beacons now 9-4 on the year on a 4-game win streak. Castleton falls to 6-7 on the year, 0-1 in conference play. They are now on, excuse me, they have their 2-game winning streak snapped after that doubleheader win over Fisher College. So, quick recap of this game before we end it here. Beacons win this one 5-1. It's Aiden Blake and Nick Palma with back-to-back singles, and then a 2 RBI triple by Gianni Zerilli Jr. gives the Beacons a 2-0 lead. Mariana Jimenez singles home a run to make it 3-0, and then Breon Parker reaches on the throwing error by Reese DeCastro. It's now 4-0 Beacons. Dylan Ryan dominates the 102-pitch performance, ends up getting the win and moves to 2-0 on the year. Riley Orr, as mentioned before, he went 5 1/3 innings, drops to 2-2. And then Ethan Herrera came in for the final 3 innings to get the save, his first of the season. So the Beacons win this one 5-1. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back in about 30 to 40 minutes or so. We'll kind of recap things from here and get ready for game number 2 of Beacon Baseball. 9 innings of fun still to come. We'll have some guests on. Thank you for joining me for game 1. And our crew, we had Elena Albano, Gina Albano, Georgia Bonney, Malik Lorquette. Got Ali Albano in here. We got a few of our other women's soccer players in here as well. And we had Addie Buddington and Emmanuel Zayas down low. Annalise Ortiz and Andrea Rivera in the box with us right now. But we'll take a quick break and we'll be back a little bit later. Beacons win this one 5-0. We'll be back for game 2 shortly.
Massachusetts, and I want that for every single student that walks through the door.
College has given me the flexibility to pursue my passions and my interests, and I've recreated my identity for myself aside from just being an athlete.
My greatest personal discovery has been that I am capable of doing things that I didn't know I was capable of doing.
To be able to study what I wanted to and continue to play the sport I love, all of those things came together very nicely in one package in Division III.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
I think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships. Just being involved on campus, being a leader, all those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
Cheer for the stumbles. That he should have had that. And the tears that linger. For in those moments, greatness lies.